I'm so sorry I can't be with you in person today. Over the last year and a half, there were so many things that I didn't want to do. It's too bad COVID had to mess this one up, because I do want to be with you. Of course, this disease has been terrible for so many, and I'm just thankful it's been mild for me. I grew up in central Nebraska, and I'm an alumnus of UNL, and I've been teaching here for 23 years. It's crazy to think that that's probably longer than most of you have been alive. This university has been a big part of my life, and now it's going to mean a lot to each of you. Congratulations on your graduation from this wonderful university. Welcome to the family. As you know, I'm an engineer and they usually don't let us talk to people. So it's nice to be here in front of you, at least virtually. We have business majors, art and architecture, history, math, and such a diversity of talent. Of course, we have some mechanical engineers out there, and I promised to give a shout out to my advanced kinematics class. Those guys are ready to go out in the world and generate some impressive mechanisms. Yes. I also checked the program and I see that there's some civil engineers out there. That's good to see. I don't mean to disparage civil engineers, but I'm a mechanical engineer and they're my favorite. Oh, and for you civil engineers, disparage means to put down or insult. But I guess what I'm trying to say is it's really good to be here with you. Before we get started, I want to remind you to thank those of you who helped get you here today. For many of you, that's likely your parents. We have a lot to be thankful for, and as we celebrate today, be sure and celebrate your parents. Now, my main point is something that is not specifically original to me, but it's something that I think about a lot. The takeaway line that I want you to remember is to know your center. Know your center. I had to give a title for my talk a while ago, and I don't really even remember what title is in your program, so cross it out and put in know your center. In classical Greek mythology, there was a goddess named Tyche. She was said to be responsible for all kinds of random events, floods and fires, and maybe that wind we had last week can be attributed to Tyche. Legend tells us that she was the one who had the first pair of dice, and all things of chance were governed by Tyche. As near as I can tell, the Romans stole all the Greek gods and they renamed Tyche into Fortuna. Of course, Fortuna is where we get our word fortune, meaning chance from luck or external force. Just as the goddess Tyche would bring random events. In the Middle Ages, fortune was represented in the Wheel of Fortune. It's not the game show that you're thinking of now where you spin the wheel and you say RSTLNE and you try to solve the puzzle. My mother-in-law would be so happy that I'm talking about her favorite show. The medieval Wheel of Fortune can still be seen in cathedrals in Europe. Sometimes it's in a window, sometimes it's a painting. At the top of the wheel is a king. At the bottom of the wheel is a prince or a pauper with no money and no power. On the right side of the wheel, the king is falling or being slain in some way. On the left side of the wheel, the pauper is rising. We have an up-and-comer. The wheel depicts how there are successes and failures, and everywhere in between. Such is life. The wheel spins around and around, and you rise and fall. Fortune spins the wheel, and you go up and down. I think this is a great image and an important warning. Now, let me tie this wheel to one of my favorite modern philosophers, Dr. Tom Osborne. I remember Coach Osborne saying something such as, things probably are never as good as you think they are, and they're probably never as bad as you think they are. He was suggesting that there's a better way than to ride the wheel of fortune up and down. And this brings me to my main point I want to make. Know your center. I think you need to work to find and live in the center of the wheel, away from the ups and downs of fortune. You need to have a center that grounds you. Of course, you're going to have ups and downs that will make you feel good when you're on the top of the wheel. There's no way to avoid the ups and downs. However, if you have a center that grounds you, you will have some detachment from these things that go up and down on the rim of the wheel. Now, my advanced kinematics students out there will tell you that when you're at the center of the wheel, of a spinning wheel, there's no velocity at the center of the wheel. However, the further you get away from the center, the quicker you spin around and around through the whims of fortune. It's only at the center of the wheel where things slow down and there's peace. At the center of the wheel, everything is calm. There's a great Quaker hymn that says, "No storm can shake my inmost calm, while to this rock I'm clinging." Notice how the song recognizes the storm. Of course there are storms. It can be a difficult storm, such as the 80-mile-per-hour wind that hit my house last week. Some of you had it much worse. But knowing where your center is can detach you from the storm and hold you in place. You're not riding the rim of the wheel when you're at the center. This is an easy thing to talk about, but it's much more difficult to do. Life is hard. It's hard for everyone. It's harder for some than it is for others. These are facts. It's hard to avoid the bottom of the wheel, and it's easy to forget about the bottom of the wheel when you're near the top. When things are going well, we don't worry about the bottom of the wheel. However, I think we need to be anchored in the center. I think the center of the wheel is the only place to find true joy and true peace. Now, the difficult thing is to know your center. For many of us, it's the divine. Our families and those we love are certainly near the center of our wheel. It can be other forms of responsibility that we take on that give us meaning. It's not easy to find your center, but I think we need to try. Tragically, I think many of us live our life on the rim of the wheel, going up and down. Find your center. From the center, you can watch the wheel spin up and down and around as something extrinsic to what holds meaning for you. You can have peace even as the storm rages and spins around you. Andrew Carnegie said that you should spend the first third of your life learning everything you can. That's about where each of you are right now. Of course, I want you to keep learning, but perhaps starting today, you need to think about what belongs at the center of your wheel of fortune. The things at the center of the wheel are what brings you meaning. These things need to be personal, things that give you strength. I think there can't be abstract goals like saving the whales, although I want the whales to do fine. I think your center has to be something that's meaningful to you and something you have to live every day. So find your center. So today's one takeaway is to think about the wheel of fortune and know your center. Don't live life on the rim of the wheel. Find and become grounded to the center. I can't tell you what that center should be. It's something very personal that you will need to discover. Remember the wheel, and remember that things probably are not as good as you think they are, and they're probably not as bad as you think they are. So, find your center. Please celebrate your great accomplishment today. Celebrate and thank those who have supported you. But not long from now, find a quiet place and think about what belongs at the center of your wheel of fortune. What's important to you? What brings you meaning? Finally, always remember that we as a university are proud of you. Please keep the best Nebraska and UNL values close to your center. Be kind, do justice, walk humbly. Congratulations on your graduation, and go Big Red, beat Wisconsin.